Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I move Minority Report Number 2 on Senate Bill 1532 be substituted for the committee report.
Representative Kennemer moves Minority Report Number 2 on Senate Bill 1532 be substituted for the committee report. To your motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair and members of the House, our state has a rich history of allowing Oregonians to have direct input on major issues. In the past 114 years since the ballot measure became an Oregon right, 363 initiative measures have been introduced and 124 have passed. In 2002, Oregonians set a precedent when they voted on ballot measure 25, which increased Oregon's minimum wage, and very importantly, tied it to inflation. Oregonians are active voters. Oregon's population, 3.97 million, 3.1 million, or 78.4%, are of voting age. 2.2 million are registered voters. 1.47 million, or 67% of registered voters, voted in the 2014 gubernatorial election. In 2014, Oregon had the 5th highest percentage of voter turnout of all of the states. This system of empowering the people to propose new laws or change the Constitution of Oregon through a general election ballot measure became nationally known as the Oregon system. Oregon was the pioneer on initiative and referendum process. Interestingly, Oregon became the 3rd state to implement the process. Ironically, we'd have been the first had the legislature not delayed it. Oregonians then have a history and should have an opportunity to directly participate on an issue with such enormous potential impacts on our state and divisive and diverse views on its needs and impacts. By rushing through this legislation, we're exposing Oregonians to harsh potential unintended consequences. I would suggest it's time for a compromise. In large measure, Republicans say today's proposal is too costly and detrimental. Democrats maintain it's needed immediately, if not sooner. And there are lots of strong feelings among all of us. Lots of great information, facts, and incredibly moving stories on both the pro and the con signs. Stories of struggling moms, minority members struggling, folks struggling even to find a job, much less move up, folks struggling to survive, let alone enjoy their lives, and stories of businesses struggling and failing with these increases. Ontarians desperately trying to compete with Idaho and seeing that ability being taken away from them. Fragile rural Oregonians scared silly, and a need for a training wage to engage our losing battle with our youth employment. And on and on. Likely you've heard from them or gotten their calls and emails. A tremendous range of concerns and fears on both sides. Clearly, Oregonians are concerned about this matter, and on both the pro and con sides. We need to do a better job than rushing to a hasty decision. And who's right, I would ask? Us, the legislature, or them, the Oregon voters? We have a tradition of voter involvement and decision making. We're essentially at partisan deadlock. And testimony from citizens likewise was very deeply divided. We are a small number of 90 elected officials and 1 governor versus 22 million registered potential voters. And we have before us a partial compromise with tiered applications and graduated amounts. But our citizens are the ones who will have to live with that system. Ours are outnumbered. You can roll us. But why don't we come together for common good and let the 2.2 million registered and eligible Oregon voters decide what is best for Oregon and for them? So let's take a step back. Realize this is a mighty important and frankly mighty contentious issue. Put this measure before Oregon's voters. Let them be the ultimate deciders on the upcoming general election this November. Let people make their choice. Let's use our power to frame the question. And then let the people, let Oregonians decide the outcome. And how much more Oregonian can you get than to let Oregonians make their own decision?